Welcome to Workplace Realities with About Staffing. I have a guest with me today. Christina from the Safe Haven Foundation is the CEO, and I'm excited to talk to Christina today because it's such a great topic. Talking about community support, and I want to talk about not-for-profit and nonprofits as well, and we can maybe get into that a little bit today.
Great, looking forward to it. Thanks for having me.
Well, you're welcome. We've had lots of chats lately because
Yes,
we're
yeah.
at 30 years in
Yes.
business, and
We're celebrating 30 years of community impact too.
so great. And that's why we're collaborating today.
Yeah,
It's kind of
so
cool.
exciting.
Yeah. Kind of came up, right?
It did.
We were having a meeting and talking about your 30th, what you could do for Safe Haven Foundation's 30th anniversary. And hey, we're turning 32. So we thought, why not do something together?
Yeah, and this really, I think, natural celebration, right, of shared community impact. I think we've had some really great conversations about the impact that you've had on community and industry and really shaped the city in so many powerful ways. And so I think it's a really great opportunity to celebrate together. But of course, always, supporting us along the way too. So for 30 years, you've been supporting Safe Haven, really believing in the girls and young women that we support and, the futures that we're shaping together. And that means a whole lot to us. So thank you.
Aw, hearts, hugs, hugs on film.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you today about, you're the CEO and you've taken over for the founders,
Yes.
Karen Sherbet, who's so well known in our community, and she's done so much, and her husband John too.
Yeah,
And
legends.
they're
Yeah.
legends, and I got involved because of them. Originally, they're so powerful and so kind,
They are, yes.
genuine people, and now you've stepped into the role.
I have,
And
yes.
being a staffing agency, I'm interested in your perspective about, what is that like for you to step into such big shoes and carry on such an important part of our city and the community that it supports? And how do you feel about that?
Well, I feel very honored, yeah, to be in the role and have the opportunity. I mean, I think it's felt like a very natural intersect of all of sort of the lived and professional experience I've had. It really has. It has felt meant to be. It's been a very welcoming role. I mean, this community is so kind. It's so welcoming. Our donors, like yourself, I think you're one of the first donors I met who
Let's not talk age.
you were just so inviting. So that's been really special. But no, it really was. It felt like this was, I don't know, it was an opportunity that it was meant to be. And that's for two reasons. I mean, so I share openly that I bring my lived experience to the role. So we support girls and young women who, have left unstable circumstances and are at risk of or in the early stages of experiencing homelessness. I myself left home at the age of 16. I became a parent at 18. And, it then just became, and I'm sure this will resonate with you because I know you were a young mom yourself, it became my mission in life to, build a career that, that wouldn't just provide for my family, but would give them pride, right? So that they could be proud of where they came from and, where they belonged. And that was all I was going for, right? I was out the gates of university with this, intensity that probably didn't match my age or appearance. And, I think it was just a little bit of that in some cases it got the attention that allowed me to secure some of the chances and the opportunities that I've been so lucky to have. And, not undermining the work that I put in, but that was a big part of it. People who believed in me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes. I know you talk a lot about the girls that are couch surfing. Is that what you call it? And I think that, I don't think I ever heard the term before, safe haven, and how true that is. There are so many people, girls in
Yes.
particular, who go somewhere where they feel safe and warm for even just for a night.
Yes.
And you give them an opportunity to have a safe place to sleep every night,
Yes.
which I think is amazing. And yeah, I was young. I was 19 when I had my twins, and started about staffing. I mean, 30 years ago. I was pretty young when I started the career too. And but you know what? I think the most important thing is that we choose to give back.
Yes.
I choose the career of staffing and placing people, all kinds of people in all kinds of roles, including people in not-for-profit and nonprofit. But you choose to invest your time and energy into this particular cause as a career, which is really cool that you've been able to turn it into a career.
Yeah, I mean,
It's amazing.
right, and very rare, right? That's why I do feel so lucky, because how often are we able to, right, experience this kind of full circle moment? And yeah, so it is, right. So I appreciate you sort of calling attention to that sliver of time where our program shows up. So it's very much a preventative program. So that's where, we differentiate ourselves in the housing and homelessness continuum. It's
Right.
before homelessness takes root. So yes, couch surfing is a circumstance that many of our young women do face. So it's hidden homelessness is the experience that we're really showing up in. So it's that point in time where, these girls, these young women are doing everything they can to avoid being home because it's no longer safe. And so in some cases that means that they're doing, they're picking up extra shifts, they're spending a lot of extra time at their friends' houses. But the goodwill is starting to run out, and the opportunities are becoming fewer and fewer, and they're becoming unsafe, and the wrong people are starting to take notice and pay attention. And that's why it's so critical that we show up, right, before those risks come into play.
Yeah, let's keep them off the streets, right? Which is where they
Absolutely.
could end up if they don't find a safe home.
Yep. And addiction, exploitation is such a massive risk right now,
Mm.
especially right when our youth are engaging online and looking for, safe places to stay, right? Unsafe places and circumstances are often finding them.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I appreciate everything that you're doing for our community, that's for sure.
Thank you.
So let's talk about your role a little bit. I think
Sure.
it's super exciting being in the staffing and placement business,
Yes.
always hearing about other people's roles.
Sure.
You're the CEO,
Yes.
which is very cool. And so tell me what your day looks like. What does a regular day at a nonprofit look like for you?
Sure. Yeah. So we are an organization that focuses on depth over breadth. So I'm very lucky in that I get to spend a large portion of my time in the external part of the world and what we do, and bringing attention to what we do, and everything that I've just shared with you around why prevention is key and why Calgarians should invest at this point in the continuum. But because, we are so focused on depth, and, we really manage the number of youth that we serve, I get to know everyone that we support. So I know the name, the
Ah,
background, the circumstance of every young woman who walks through our door, which is something I'm so grateful for.
ah.
I get to work alongside the dedicated team who is frontline, supporting them every day. And, once a week, I get to really engage in some of the ideation that goes into thinking through the themes that our young women are facing, right, in their one-on-one meetings with our live-in house parents, which is a big part of the program that differentiates ourselves from other organizations, but also our support coaches. And I get to kind of share my thoughts sometimes around, what I think could be really helpful from a programming perspective. So we're looking at, okay, what is getting in the way of our youth from stepping into happy, healthy, confident independence? Sometimes that's a life skill challenge. Sometimes that's an education challenge. Sometimes that's a barrier to employment, right?
Yes.
And getting that first opportunity or foot in the door. And so sometimes I'll get to, I'm paying attention to what's going on so that I can then bring that into, if it is, a barrier to employment and finding access to work opportunities, I can bring that into a conversation that I'm having with Shar and say like, hey, can you help? So it's right. I think a big part of my role is connecting the dots. So, trying to understand, okay, what's going on inside of our walls, and how can I tell that story outside when I'm talking to community, and connecting ourselves to the connections that can help solve those issues, but also the funding. So, of course, right, we are not government or United Way funded. And so we really rely on the kindness of community. So my job is to make sure that, individual donors know that and
Maybe
support.
some of our supporters
Yeah,
too can help
right.
out. Yeah,
Yeah.
even a few bucks or a few bucks a month can
It
really
goes so
help out.
far. Yes. I mean, yes. So one of our big goals of our 30th anniversary campaign is to really increase our monthly donor base, because that
Oh.
kind of sustainability is so key.
Mhm.
And even just $30 a month could go such a long way.
Oh.
So if your supporters are interested,
Oh.
you can easily go to our website. You can click donate, sign up to become a monthly donor.
Oh, okay,
And
easy.
yeah, you would be changing lives every day.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
I know we've placed, I think, the average is about 3,000 people per year or so that we place.
Oh, wow.
And yeah,
Incredible.
I know. And I think, well, that added up over the years. I don't think it was 3,000 the first year, but
Yeah,
then other years
sure.
it's
Do
four.
you
So,
remember what it was the first year?
oh my gosh. Well, I remember we did something like 1,400 T4s,
Okay.
in which case we had temps. So we had a lot of long-term temps at that time.
Yeah.
So I think, since then, of course, we've grown the direct hire side so much that
Right.
it's just,
Oh my gosh.
more than double, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
But even now we donate 3% of our total revenue to not-for-profits and nonprofits. And you guys are, of course, a part of that, which is very, very important to us.
We're so
And
grateful.
do you have so I was thinking, out of all of the people that we've placed and all of we've done we've worked a lot in nonprofit as well. We've placed a number of people in nonprofit. And I was trying to think about what those people that we've impacted in particular, if there was any one story or another. And I thought, I bet you've got one.
Oh my
Do you have
gosh.
a story of someone that you've affected their life, or
Oh,
one of the girls that graduated, or something that you've done that maybe is an impact of one person that you wanted to highlight?
oh my gosh. Yes. Yes, absolutely. But what I have to call out too is that so one of our critical team members, Joanna Ling, who is our operations manager, volunteer manager, I mean, she wears so many hats, was placed by a
Ah, yes,
veteran.
yes, yes, yes.
Right?
One of our faves.
Oh my gosh, she's incredible.
Oh,
So
thank
you
you.
really, well,
Take
yeah,
it
you are.
personally.
I mean, it's huge. I just can't even imagine. So she
Aw.
started, I think, about 6 months before me, and I can't imagine this whole experience would have been like without her. So you really do.
Oh,
I mean, yeah,
thank you.
you do the real stuff here.
Well, we do
Yeah.
take it personally.
Oh
We love the
gosh.
compliments, so thank you for that.
Oh,
But you're
massive.
doing the real work. I
Oh,
mean,
thank you.
really, you're doing the real work out there. You're really changing lives. So,
Sure.
I know you have a story of
Yes. Okay.
someone that you've impacted.
Sure.
Just pick one of the
Okay.
many.
Yeah, well, let me tell you about Maddie.
Hmm.
So Maddie joined us just over a year ago, and she openly shares sort of the experience and the circumstance that she was facing. She came to Calgary from a rural community, in Alberta, which is also a very common circumstance. So, when youth are experiencing unstable circumstances in rural communities, there aren't as many places to go, so they're coming to the big cities, where it can become very unsafe very quickly, and it's just so expensive. So she was couch surfing. She didn't have a stable place to live. She really just was so motivated to break the cycle of poverty and also addiction that was really facing, her history and her
Ugh.
family again, which she shares openly and has, very generously allowed us to share this story. So when she came to us, we welcomed her in the door of Hayden's Way, which is the first stream of our program. That's the house that's made into a home by two live-in host parents who are there to, help them feel safe, help them unpack the trauma that they have inherently experienced as
Mm.
a result of
Trauma's a
facing
great word.
homelessness. Yes. Yes. And really help them understand, okay, what do you want? Where do you want to go? Because you're safe now. You're stable. You don't have to survive. We really want to help you thrive. So what does that look like? Often a question they've never been asked before.
Mm.
And so, with Maddie, when she first joined us, her goal was to just be able to pay rent and find steady employment that would allow her to pay rent and maybe go to a concert a couple times a year.
Ugh.
Loves music.
Ah.
And so, she needed that time to really understand, okay, well, what do I want to do, not what do I have to do? And what was really special about that time that she spent with us is in those very few early weeks and days, this beautiful art started to appear throughout the house. These wonderful sketches that were just showing up everywhere. And so we very quickly learned, right, that there was this amazing talent within her.
Ah.
And we asked if she'd ever considered, making her career out of it. And she never thought that was possible. And so what we were able to do is open up the door and get our gears turning and think about sort of the ideas and the opportunities
Mm.
and that can connect to art, from graphic design to tattoo artistry. She's now at University of the Fine Arts, Alberta University of the Arts,
Ah.
pursuing a fine arts degree. She has hopes of becoming an art teacher. But what I'll share is that, what we've learned through working directly with Maddie is that, our support doesn't just stop, right, with, finding that opportunity and setting them on that education path. We need to continue to support them along the way and show up as advocates, particularly when for the first time a youth, like Maddie is stepping into post-secondary education for the first time. She's the first person in her family who has ever, had stepped into the university
Oh,
world.
gosh.
And that is a very challenging and daunting space to show up in.
Yeah.
And, it's
Alone.
yes, right? It's designed to root people out,
Yeah.
right? And so, we learned very quickly that we needed to continue to show up as an advocate in that space. And so that's, a bit of a story about how we show up and continue to show up and walk with them along the way.
I love it. Thank you
Yeah.
so much for sharing that.
Course.
And we have an event coming up. So
let's
we
talk
could
about it.
talk a little bit about that because I know that this will be posted shortly, and we'll have a few tickets left, I hope.
Yeah.
We're going to do the Pearls and Prosecco White Party, which
Yes.
we're promoting like crazy.
Yes.
And I know we have 100 people coming
Yeah.
from our end. So we'll have 100 of the About Staffing supporters coming. And
Mhm.
of course, you'll have your supporters coming.
Yes.
Is there anything that you'd like to ask for today? Is there anything you can
Sure.
push?
Well, first, let's describe the event. Okay, so yes, it's going to be hosted on the rooftop of the Marriott, downtown views, clear rooftop tent, right? It's going to be amazing. Everyone's going to be wearing white in honor of the Pearl anniversary,
Which I love.
Yes, it's going to be so fun. Can't wait to see your outfit. There's going to be tons of immersive activations. So just think about different activities that you can engage in to learn, but also just have fun. We're going to have live entertainment. The swing setters will be there.
I love that.
Well, and this is news for you. So Totem Golf just came on board to support a putting station, a putting garden, and they're also going to be sampling their Temple Brewing non-alcoholic beverages.
Yes, they just started out. I'm thrilled for them.
I know. It's so exciting.
I'm so glad that worked out.
I know. Thank you again. Yet another.
Yes, you're welcome.
Yeah, Char is the most amazing connection.
Well,
Yes.
Placed a lot of people.
Yes, right.
That is so great.
know,
And they're
isn't it
lovely
fun?
people. I love it when great
So
people come
wonderful.
together to celebrate something.
Yeah, I mean, yes, they're all like such a generous organization.
Yes,
they also
yes.
need, Totem Foundation, who's also been a long time supporter.
Wow.
We love them.
Thank you, Totem Foundation.
Yes, thank you, Totem Foundation. And we're also going to have Pearl readings. We're going to have also a live artist who will be creating a
great.
painting. So anytime you donate, that will be captured in real time in a beautiful piece of art. So tons of really great immersive experiences, and just the opportunity to learn more and support a cause that can really again not just change the lives directly of our youth, but also think about it's going to help us reshape the Calgary that we want to build within the next 30 years. That's what we're doing. We're celebrating 30 years of impact, but we're planning for the next 30. And right, if we can invest in these young women, if we can tell them that we believe in them, right, then we can create these women who will come back into our community to serve our community, contribute, bring their lived experience, their empathy in a way that, can really create a more empathetic, kinder Calgary.
Yeah.
And I'm excited for that.
I am too. I am too. We've certainly seen lots of cycles in the city.
Yep.
And I think this is one where we can all celebrate together for the good of the city and the good we have to offer. And you talk about the ripple effect.
Yes.
We're going to really showcase that, I think, that night. And we're going to have a lot of fun together. I'm sure we're going to have a few tears and lots of hugs, which will be great.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to seeing our supporters and your supporters all mixing together, and just for a great cause and lots of celebrations. And I think it's going to be just a really great night. And it's coming up on May 28th.
It is coming up on May
right?
29th.
May 29th.
You had me questioning for a moment.
Okay, May
Is it?
29th
May 29th.
at the Marriott, which is great. And we can still get tickets. So we can post
Tickets on
that.
sale. Yes. It's going to be a really great event. And
Well,
and you talked about the ripple effect. I think that, we can just maybe define that quickly, because I think it's just such a shared, right? Like, I think that's really where the alignment truly is. And that's just that belief that, again, when you invest in one person's future, and when you give them a chance, it really goes on to, affect the workplaces that they show up in and the relationships that they form. And again, that ripples out into entire communities. That's what About Staffing is doing. And
and in the future, when they have children,
exactly,
they might have children if they choose to. They might have children and their children.
Yes.
And we're creating different types of impact than perhaps what would have happened if you hadn't have got your hands on these girls and helped them out.
Exactly.
And hopefully get jobs and be contributing members of society, which I love.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you, Christina, today.
Sure.
About staffing is always a step ahead, doing something unique today with Christina from Safe Haven. You can find all the information that you need at aboutstaffing.com or at the Safe Haven Foundation. .ca. That's great. Canadian. I love it.
Yes.
Thank you for coming in today. And I'm looking forward to posting lots of follow-up pictures and lots of hugs. And let's high five to success on that one. It's great.
Thanks, Char.